Good afternoon, and thank all of you for being here. I'm Karen Peterson, State Senator from the 9th District, and the prime sponsor of Senate Bill 40, a bill to repeal Delaware's death penalty and replace it with life without parole, except for those who are already on death row. Senate Bill 40 would end death by lethal injection and replace it with death by incarceration. I don't think anybody in this room today would disagree that there are people in our society who commit horrific crimes and need to be removed from society. Nobody disagrees with that, but we do disagree on what should be done with those people. It has always seemed illogical to me that the state would kill people to teach them that it's wrong to kill people. It's like the parent who beats his kids to teach them that hitting is wrong. Homicide is homicide, no matter who is doing the killing. And if you don't think that executions are homicides, read the death certificates issued by the state for executions. Under manner of death, the death certificate says homicide, and we are all accomplices. We know that the death penalty is not working. It is not a deterrent to murder, as evidenced by the fact that although Delaware is quite prolific when it comes to executing people, our main city has been dubbed Murder Town, USA. As Dr. Phil would say, how's that working for you? We know that the death penalty in Delaware is applied arbitrarily because we currently have about 240 convicted murderers in Delaware's prisons who did not get the death penalty. And some of those murders were horrific. We know that the death penalty in Delaware is discriminatory, applied mostly against the poor, the mentally ill, the drug addicted, and people of color in grossly disproportional numbers. When it comes to the death penalty, there is no equal justice under the law in Delaware. We know that the death penalty is expensive, 2 to 3 times more expensive than life without parole. That's money that can be better used for preventing crime and helping victims' families. Delaware is currently spending upwards of $3 million a year on death penalty cases. If we execute one person every other year, that's more than $6 million per execution. We're not being tough on crime, we're being tough on taxpayers. We know that the death penalty risks the execution of innocent people. For every 9 inmates who are executed, 1 is exonerated. In the past 40 years, 150 death row inmates have been exonerated in this country. Here in Delaware, proponents of the death penalty have argued that these kinds of mistakes don't happen here, despite the fact that 3 Delaware death row inmates have been released from death row in just the past 3 years. Jermaine Wright's case is a perfect example of just how imperfect our criminal justice system is. He spent 20 years on Delaware's death row because of prosecutorial misconduct and the failure of police to give him his Miranda rights. Yes, Delaware does make mistakes, just like everybody else. Some argue that we should keep the death penalty for people who kill police officers and correctional officers. But the last person who killed a police officer in Delaware didn't get the death penalty. And when was the last time a correctional officer was killed by one of the more than 240 convicted murderers who are currently serving life without parole in Delaware's prisons? Every life in Delaware is equal, and nobody's life is more equal than another's. It's time for Delaware to stop killing people, because killing them makes us as guilty as they are. I would like to introduce the House Prime Sponsor, Representative Sean Lynn.